What makes the best offshore bank account? In the world of global banking, you have the ability to shop around for the best criteria in the bank that you want. We're removing the borders in this video, talking about all the banks around the world, how to find the best one. We'll be covering 4 key criteria you need to be looking out for when shopping for a global bank account or an offshore bank account. You can kind of use these 2 words interchangeably, and we will be throughout this video. We'll also be providing examples of countries that have some of the best banking for each criteria point. And the key here is to kind of take your favorite out of these 4 key criteria and mold your own strategy. So if you're more looking for monetary stability, if you have a lower risk tolerance, maybe shopping around countries like Cyprus are a bit more important. But if you're looking for ease of opening an account, Georgia, the easternmost country in Europe, can be one of the best bank accounts to have. And again, in each of these countries, obviously you have all these different banks. We won't be diving into the exact banks, but rather the countries and the criteria that you'll be looking out for. So let's dive right into the video and actually understand the 4 key criteria we're looking out for. Number 1, jurisdiction quality. Number 2, monetary stability. 3, institutional quality. Number 4, ease of opening an account. Right off the bat, it's very, very important to have jurisdiction quality built into your offshore bank account. The reason this is so important is you want to make sure on a global perspective, on the global landscape, that they're respected by other countries. This is very, very important because when we're talking about offshore banking, the concept of offshore, we can talk about this in another video, but is really kind of outdated because we're removing the borders in this new kind of digital age. Because the concept of offshore, again, a lot of people would consider if you're banking in the US and you open a bank account in Canada, still onshore, it's still in the land, that's an offshore bank account, which it's not. It's just a bank account in another country. So kind of first of all, to kind of start this off, remove kind of this disabling belief that opening an offshore bank account is hard to do. It's not hard to do. I'm currently here in Prizren, Kosovo. You can open a bank account in a lot of these Balkan countries very, very easily, and it fits that quality. But the institutional quality and the jurisdiction quality are lower in countries like this. And Kosovo, for example, uses the euro, so the monetary stability kind of fits that criteria. So you're fitting 2 out of the 4 criteria, but you're missing the jurisdiction quality. In countries that have great jurisdiction quality are countries like Georgia. Also, Georgia has, I think, honestly, Georgia is one of the best countries for opening an offshore bank account. Let me just say that, or a global bank account, we can call it that. But the key here is to understand that jurisdiction quality, what you want to kind of check the box for here, is looking at their standing with other countries. So in the past, has this country had issues with your home countries? So like, let's say you're in the US or you're in Canada or you're in one of these Western countries like Australia or New Zealand. People banking in, let's say, the Cayman Islands or a lot of these smaller islands like St. Bart's, St. Kitts and Nevis. If they've had a bad reputation between the 2, that's kind of the jurisdiction quality that you're looking for. So you want to make sure they have a good relationship with other countries. So not just the institution, but the actual jurisdiction. Then we move on to monetary stability. This is something that's very, very important. If you were opening a bank account in Venezuela before the currency crash, man, you wouldn't be in a good situation. So this is very, very important. Countries like this, Kosovo, they don't have their own currency. Whereas in Turkey, let's say, it's fairly easy to open a bank account. It has a nice citizenship by investment program, which we talk about in other videos. But the monetary stability, the Turkish lira is not stable. We've seen a massive dip in the Turkish lira. If you kind of look at the Forex market, studying currencies, the main currencies that are stable, if you're looking at fiat currencies, we talk a lot about inflation hedge assets because those are your best bet when you have massive money printing. And since, Bretton Woods system and taking the dollar off the gold standard, you have the situation where all of these fiat currencies don't have a hard cap. It's kind of this secret tax of inflation that really, really hurt the currencies, but still in the realm of currencies. So if we're just talking about currencies in a vacuum, what are the most stable? Well, British pound, euro, US dollar, Japanese yen, these kind of main currencies are relatively stable in the vacuum of currencies. We can talk about in another video how you have mass inflation because the printers going burr, especially with this new Biden presidency. We're gonna see massive stimulus and kind of long-term inflation where, the numbers you see up front never really actually relate to the lower class or the middle class, how they're infected by inflation, because everybody is affected by inflation rather differently. So based on your assets. So if you have the majority of your money in fiat currency, you're going to be affected the most because you're holding something that is being inflated. But if you have, let's say 10% of your net worth in fiat and 90% in assets, well, as inflation rises, the thing that's purchasing those assets, the things that it's derived in, is raising. So those assets raise in value with inflation. But the problem here is, in America, for example, the bottom 50% of Americans don't have a stock market account. They don't have any assets. They're paycheck to paycheck. So this is kind of the issue. I apologize for that little tangent, but just kind of the concept of having the most stable fiat currencies. That's what you want to look for a monetary stability. So then we move into institutional quality. So we covered jurisdiction, we covered monetary, which Georgia, the country of Georgia, not the state of Georgia in the US. A lot of people get that confused. But the Cartvellian people, again, the easternmost country in Europe, incredible place, the capital of Tbilisi, highly recommend you go visit. Beautiful country. Basically, they have, I would say, the best overall offshore banking account currently, especially, it all depends, again, what are you optimizing for? So the ease of opening accounts is incredibly easy, which will be our last point. But when we move into institutional quality, you want to look at the respectable institutions. So KPI to look at, key performance indicator with institutional quality, is what percentage of the deposits do they keep on hand. When you look back at the major crashes in our economy, it's because of runs on the banks. So what percentage of cash do they actually keep on hand, cash deposits? And in the Western world, 1% is the standard, 1%. So for every $1,000, they just keep $100 at the actual bank. So when there's a run on the bank, 1 out of 10 people will actually get their money back. And this is just a very general number. And we're talking about round numbers here. We can go into further details if you want to see another video. Let me know in the comments what else you want to see. If you have any questions on any of these topics, let me know down below. But continuing on, 1% is average in Western countries like America. Whereas places like Belize, 24% cash on hand of total deposits is the standard. That's the minimum. So take a look at Belize if you're more interested in, if you're a little bit more paranoid of a situation where there'll be a run on the bank, other people will know about this before you, they'll get their money. The one thing about the US that is good is they have the FDIC, so you're insured up to a certain amount of money in each bank account. So it is important, if you're only banking in the US, to not just use one bank, because let's say you have $1 million and you're only insured up to $100,000. I can't remember what the exact number is, but it's kind of arbitrary, because you want to spread out your money in multiple banks, basically, because then you have FDIC insurance in each of these different banks, because they only insure you up to, I think it might be only $100,000. So anyways, I digress. I mainly focus on global bank accounts, so the US is kind of where I'm moving away from as far as banking. So anyways, it's interesting because in Western countries, as I said, 1% cash deposits are actually kept in the bank, whereas in Belize, an island country that many people don't even think about, especially like many average people, whereas the people in kind of this offshore world, the ultra wealthy individuals, they know all about this. They teach their kids this. That's really what this channel is about, is bringing this to the average person, because we're in a society today where everyone should be able to reap the benefits of what the ultra wealthy have been for years and years. So that's really our goal. If you like that goal, subscribe down below, but I digress. So 24% cash is the minimum for Belize, and then we move into the ease of opening an account. So the interesting thing here is Mongolia. So when you look at ease of opening an account, there's kind of 3 criteria. I would say priority banking, 24/7 service, and global service. So Mongolia is actually great. It fits all these criteria. So ease of opening an account is very, very interesting. Mongolia, for some other things like maybe jurisdiction quality, might not fit. But again, it's kind of like this, you have a trilemma. So like you have the blockchain trilemma, which is you have kind of 3 key things. typically only each blockchain can have 2 out of 3. With this, it's kind of a quad lemma, like at 4. So you have, jurisdiction quality, you have monetary stability, then you have institutional quality, and then you have ease of opening an account. Typically, most banks can only have 3 out of 4. Not very many have 4 out of 4. So let me know in the comments which one you think has the most, at least, that fits your boxes, and then you kind of have to craft your own strategy for offshore banking. You have to kind of pick and choose what you want to see in a bank. You have to kind of select these own criteria and then go out and find them. We can maybe make more videos on like top 5 or top 10 global bank accounts or offshore bank accounts in another video. Definitely let me know in the comments if you want to see a video like that. If you enjoy this kind of more of like global diversification strategy, we mainly cover like assets and asset-based income and investing strategies, especially in the crypto markets right now. And blockchain technology has been very, very interesting, but I am always diving deep into these things, getting very, very analytical. So these videos are a general overview of the things that I kind of collect as far as research in global banking and global kind of investing, as this channel's name. So if you enjoyed this video, if you thought this was interesting, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell button, and click all, because this is time-sensitive content. A lot of our videos are actually very, very time sensitive. So the earlier you see them, the better. That's why the bell button is so, so important. So like, subscribe, bell button all, like, subscribe, bell button all. Invest global, as always. Until next.